Welcome to Knowledge Chat channel. In this video, we will be discussing about what are energy sources, what do you mean by energy source, and what are its types, and voltage source is one type of energy source, and we will be discussing about in detail about the voltage source, which is a type of energy source. Okay. So we will be discussing about the characteristics. We will be discussing about the types of voltage sources and all those things. So this is what the agenda is about in this video. Okay, let's move on. So energy sources. So what do you mean by energy sources? That is, which can deliver the power, which can deliver the energy, that is called as energy source. So it can deliver in two different forms. Any element can deliver its energy in two different forms. One form is through voltage, the other form is through current. Okay. So if it delivers through voltage, then it is called as a voltage source. If it is delivering the energy through the current, then it is called as a current source. Okay. So normally what happens is, in broader way, how we classify the energy source is like, it is classified into two different types, that is voltage source and current source. So in this video, we will be discussing about current source. So I just want to make you clarify what you mean by voltage source is something, but see, irrespective of change in load, the voltage will remain constant in case of the voltage source. Whereas in case of current source, irrespective of change in load, for example, if the load may be very high or load may be very low, ultimately you are going to deliver the power. Is it right? Ultimately you are going to deliver the power. So for example, if I am delivering the power with a constant voltage source, then the current magnitude will be changing according to the load magnitude. Okay. Similarly, if I am delivering the power to the load through a current source, then you will observe that current remains constant irrespective of change in load. For example, the load may vary from minimum to maximum, but current will always remain same. Whereas the voltage magnitude will be changing according to the load magnitude, so that the power requirement also can be changed. So why this concept is very important is because if both voltage and current are changing, then it will be very difficult to deliver the power. So at least one should be constant, the other parameter should be varying with respect to changes in load. So this is what your electrical system is all built about. So two different classifications of energy source, one is the voltage source and other is the current source. So this is how we broadly classify. So in this we will be discussing about, in this video we will be discussing about the voltage source, and in future video I will be discussing about the current source. So now we will discuss about the voltage source. So normally how we classify this voltage source. So voltage source, as you are able to understand, voltage source is nothing but the voltage, the input voltage remains constant irrespective of change in, for example, in your household applications, the input voltage is always 230 volt. Whereas the current magnitude is changing according to the load requirements. So if the load requirement is very high, the current also will be absorbed on a very high magnitude. Whereas if the load magnitude is very less, the current will be taken in a very less magnitude. Okay, that is called as a voltage source. So here we broadly classify it into two different types. One is the ideal voltage source, the other one is the practical voltage source. Ideal voltage source and practical voltage source. Okay. So also we will be discussing about what are the characteristics of ideal voltage source and how the circuit looks like in case of the ideal voltage source, and similarly in case of the practical voltage source, what are the characteristics and how the circuit looks like. So this is what the entire discussion is all about in this particular video. So you can see that a voltage source, ideal voltage source. So we have come to a point that a voltage source is there. So you are clear with what is voltage source, and we have classified that particular voltage source into two different types. One is the ideal voltage source and another is the practical voltage source. So in case of ideal voltage source, what it means is it is always ideal. So from the name itself, we can understand it is ideal. Ideal means we are not going to consider any practical terms. Okay. So we are considering only the theoretical aspects. So in this case, we always assume that the voltage source is not having any source resistance Rs. Okay. and because of which the voltage remains constant. See, you can see that the current magnitude is always changing. Okay, the current magnitude is keeping, so you can see that there is a plot between voltage and current in x and y axis. Okay, current and voltage in case of x and y axis, and you can see that the current is changing in x axis, whereas the voltage remains constant in case in y axis. So this is called as an ideal voltage source. Okay, because it is not having any source resistance, there is no need to any drop. So the voltage always remains constant irrespective of change in current. This is what the, but practically it is not so. Okay, so in case of practical voltage source, I can see that a source resistance is connected in series with the voltage source. So as the current increases, the voltage dips. So here I have marked in two different lines. One is the dotted line represents the ideal case, whereas the solid line represents the practical case. Is it clear? So hope you're clear. And so here again from this you can understand that the ideal voltage source Rs equal to 0, that is the source resistance equal to 0, whereas in case of practical the source resistance will be always greater than 0. It may be between 1 ohm to 15 ohm or something like that. Okay. So here in case of load voltage, it will be a constant and equal to voltage source. So load voltage will be always equal to the source voltage, whereas in case of practical voltage sources, the load voltage varies directly with respect to the load resistance as well as the source resistance. Okay, so because of the voltage division rule, so which we have discussed in the previous videos. So hope you are clear with what is voltage source. Okay, so we have discussed about different types of sources, and we have come to a conclusion of what is a voltage source, and we have discussed about the characteristics, and I am sure that this video will be able to make you understand what is a voltage source and what are its types and what are its characteristics, and the circuit has been discussed. So if you really like this video, please give a thumbs up, and if you have any doubts, you can comment, and if you really like this video, you can share it to someone who studies about the electrical things. And if you really like the videos which I post on this channel, please subscribe to the channel and give support, which will be a motivating factor for me. Thank you.